I was able to put a little bit of bend in this flat piece of metal that I welded in to this rust hole, but I couldn't get anywhere near the curve that it has down near the bottom. So these X's you see along there is where I'm going to stretch this metal outward to where it has a similar curve or profile to the original metal. Now, you saw I had to twist that off there with my hand because Chad and Ben were using it and got everything all loose and didn't tighten it back up. So that's what I'm doing right now, is tightening the head back up, because you got to be able to twist it to break it off. It was all loose. Okay, I got it tightened back up now, so I'm going to resume operations. I just zap it to the metal and twist it loose, move to the next spot. And we're going to carry on this method through this whole line down the... I had to stop there to tighten up the Allen screw that holds the weld plate there into the end, because they left that loose for me too. But anyhow, I'm stretching the metal. I guarantee you, when you put this stud welding thing on there, or this welding puller on there, and you bang it 2 or 3 times, it is pulling the metal outward, and that's exactly what I want to do. I'm not real concerned about the little high spots it makes when you pull out on it, because I'm not going to be able to get it perfect. I'm just going to get the general shape to where I don't have to waste a bunch of filler to get the shape. You know, I could just wipe Fiberall-Lite on there and build the shape out of Fiberall-Lite, but that stuff's expensive now. It's Bondo too. You know, the Bondo that's decent is $30, $40 a gallon. Good Bondo, you know, real good Bondo, $60, $70 a gallon. So I don't want to use that expensive stuff here. I want to pull the metal outward to where it's close to where it's supposed to be. So I just put a thin coat on there. Now I'm going to go in between the X's where I had already pulled and have a nice even line without a bunch of valleys in it. You know, this type of work is strenuous. You know, I'm an old man, I can still do it, but I'll be tired when I'm done. But believe me, this is a whole lot easier than using my Stinger stud welder, because it weighs a ton. If I had to do this with the Stinger, I think I'd just go ahead and put the Fiberall-Lite on there and build it up and forget about it. But because this Vevor GD90E spot welding depth puller works so well, I'm using it to make my finish work easier and save on materials. Like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I know all kinds of ways to skin a cat, so I come up with solutions to problems, and this is one of them that I haven't seen anybody doing it, but I'm always doing stuff that I haven't seen somebody else doing. And up there at the upper weld, because this piece of metal was still kind of flat, it didn't match the curve, so the entire weld seam is kind of like a hump. I mean, it's not actually sticking out, but the original metal is rolling downward and it's rolling inward as it's going down. Then all of a sudden there's a flat piece of metal, you know, welded up against it, so it kind of really drops off. So we're going to do a very similar procedure up there, only we'll be hammering the weld down as we pull the metal outward below it. Here I'm using a 60 grit flap disc to knock those little peaks down a little bit. You know, I'm not trying to grind them perfectly flat. I don't want to make the metal thin, even though it's a 18 gauge piece of metal. It can take quite a bit of grinding before it starts to get thin, but I still don't want to grind it thin. I'm going to do a little bit of fine tuning here before I move upwards. And that's the beauty of the Vevor depth puller, is it's easy to, you know, go back to a spot and pop it out a little more. You don't have all those studs sticking out and stuff. You can feel low spots and whatnot in there. I'm going to address the end of my pulling tip a little bit here. I'm starting to get the little pieces of metal pulled out of the car, built up on it. And once they get too much on there, then it doesn't stick very good. I feel a little low spot up here, but I'm not going to be able to pull it out very much because it's right there, basically up against the weld. So it's kind of hard to pull metal that's that close to a weld. Welds are very strong, especially billy welds. Now it needs just a little more roundness down here near the bottom. I don't need to draw my X's because I'll just go in a kind of a straight line across there where I know it needs to be. There's nothing to it the way we do it, and you can just keep welding and pulling and welding and pulling till you get it the way you want it. Did I mention that I love this thing? It is a fantastic tool. The snap-on one I had in 2002 probably would have worked as good if I hadn't kept trying to use the magnetic ground that came with it. It would not stick anywhere near as good as this one. I have the ground cable. I have the stick-on thing that came with this one taken off, and I clamped that ground cable to ground metal where I got a pure, unadulterated ground, and it makes all the difference. I paid $1,200 for that snap-on one back in 2002, and this Vevor is about $250. Of course, that's the way things are now with electronic things and stuff, is, you know, after they've been out a while and, you know, Chinese versions come out, they don't cost much. My Flux 135 Yes welder's about $120, and that's a bargain for a 3-in-1 welder. It's a stick welder, a flux core welder, and a TIG welder if you wanted to buy a TIG torch. I bought a Century 110 amp welder. I don't know, it was about probably 1992 or 3 for $350, and that was a lot of money in 1993. But I thought it was a bargain because it welded real good. But that was back when I was wasting gas using MIG, because I didn't know anything about flux core then. Now, you see, I'm feeling high spots and beating them down while I pull the low spots. Now, when I say low spot, where I've got the puller on there is just flat metal. It's not really low. It's flat. It needs to be curved. So I will continue on with this line of welds and get it pulled out. I think, did I put X's on there? I can't see them in the video, but you want to stay in a straight line as you go, or otherwise, you know, if you go up and down, then you'll have a lumpy thing when you put your filler on there. So it's better to draw X's on there in a nice straight line so that you don't get off track. And speaking of, here I'm gonna do so. Put my X's where I can feel them. Well, actually, this time I'm putting X's on the high spot, the weld, so that I can know where to hit it with a hammer. And those X's that are on the weld, I know to, you know, go below them a little bit to pull the flat metal out to a curve. It's always good to make a plan and then follow through with it. If you go haphazardly into repairing something, then you're going to have a haphazard repair when you're done. I knew I was going to be doing this before I even welded the piece of metal in. I have what we call a pipe anvil, but it's too short. It was like 4 inches too short for me to put the piece of metal into it, so I was unable to use it. I tried to bend the metal over the pipe anvil from the outside, but you know, it was not a very tall piece of metal, so it was hard to put any kind of bend in it. I put too much of a crease in the middle of it and still had flat on either side. So that's when I said to myself, well, I'm going to weld this flat piece of metal in there and then, pull the bends in it with the dent puller. And it is working all according to plan and extremely well. Sweetie. Now I'm going to just work my way down the line. I'll give it a tap, move it to the next spot. And I'm going to be right underneath the weld seam, the upper weld seam. And as I said, it's not really high. It's just the metal drops off below it. So by pulling outward on the spot that's flat, or the part that's flat, and tapping on the weld seam with a hammer, it won't cave in the weld seam. It will allow the part that the stud welder's welded to stretch. And so I will be able to get my shape without doing more damage than good. Now I'm going to speed it up now, since you know what we're doing here, and be back with you in a second. Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, oh the doo-dah day. Come down here with my hat caved in, doo-dah, doo-dah. Go back home with a pocket full of tin, oh the doo-dah day. Gonna run all night, gonna run all day. Bet my money on bobtail nag, somebody bet on me. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Hey, I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses. She'll be riding 6 white horses. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, that's my name too. In 1814 we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little beans, and we caught the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. Well, we fired our guns and the British kept coming. Wasn't quite as many as there was a while ago. Fired once more and they began to running down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. Ran so fast the hounds couldn't catch them. Down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We fired our cannon till the barrel melted down. So we grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. Filled his head with cannonballs and powdered his behind. When we touched the powder off, the gator lost his mind. Baby shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark doo 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 doo. Now, I'm not trying to pass this off as being a perfect panel or anything like that now, but it's close to the general shape that it's supposed to be. It'll be easy to finish it with filler. Fiberall light, naturally. So, y'all, please touch my like thingy and share my shizzle and subscribe, damn it!